It was a frightening time. It was the start of saturation bombing of the munition and engineering works in Coventry. I had just become a St John ambulance volunteer, and that night I called into the air raid precaution post that stood in Hen Lane, Holbrook. As our post was just round the corner from where we lived, I used to call in most evenings and see what was going on. The bombing that night began with a shower of slow-burning incendiaries. We all ran about, putting them out with sand and earth. A man ran up to me and told me one was smouldering on his roof. He asked if we could get a ladder and go into the loft before the house caught fire. I hated heights, and I was really nervous. But between us, we put out the flames with the help of a bucket and a stirrup pump. Then, as I walked home, the main bombing suddenly started. It was very dark. The sirens were wailing, and our anti-aircraft guns were blazing as the bombers dropped their high explosives. Suddenly, a little girl who lived on my road ran up to me and just said, "Mummy, Daddy, please." There was obviously something terribly wrong, and I told her to run onto the ARP post to get help, while I dashed down the road. As I looked ahead, I could see that a bomb had made an almost direct hit on an Anderson shelter. As I drew nearer, I realised our neighbours, the Worthington family, were all trapped inside. Instinctively, I began digging at the rubble with my bare hands, but it was too slow to work like that, so I frantically looked around for something to use. Remarkably, I found a spade lying nearby. I remember hearing moaning from inside. There was no shouting, no scream. A young boy on a bike appeared in the street, and as I looked up, I noticed that the kitchen door of the family house had been blown open, so I shouted to him to run upstairs and get some blankets. But he was very upset, and he didn't want to go into somebody else's house. I can still see his frightened face. I told him to just go and do it. And then some other people arrived to help. We all worked together, fumbling around in the dark. The only light was the shells from above. Together, we got the family free. There was Mr. and Mrs. Worthington, their daughter, Jo. She was a friend of mine, and I think 2 other sisters and 2 other girls. I helped to give them first aid. I just pulled off my brand new black coat and I laid it over them. I was awarded the George Medal.